Hey, 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 Voyagers! Welcome to another science lesson. For this week, we're going to be looking at the planets again in our solar system, and we're going to throw in Pluto like we always do. We're going to be looking at the planets in a different way, though. We're going to be looking at the size of each planet, and in particular, something known as the circumference, which is the distance around a shape. And we're going to look at each planet not so much in terms of a number, but a time, an amount of time, and how much it costs. If we could fictitiously drive around each planet, how much would it cost and how long would it take? You're going to need a calculator for this lab. And I'm going to do 3 examples with you of 3 fictitious planets. And then, as always, you're going to have to send back your data back to me by way of email and attached photo. As always, at the end of each movie, I'll include any data or any charts or tables as pictures. I'll let you get your calculator and then we'll get started. Okay, Voyagers, hopefully you had a chance to get a calculator and something to write with. Well, like I said, we're going to pretend that you're going to drive around each of the planets, if you could, with a fictitious vehicle. We'll call it a Land Rover. What else, right? I need to tell you some information about this vehicle that you're going to drive around each of the planets. The speed that you're going to travel at is going to be 60 miles per hour. And what miles per hour, or mph, means is the per really means in. So in 1 hour, you're going to go 60 miles. If you traveled for 2 hours, you'd go twice that, or 120 miles. So the speed of your vehicle, 60 miles in an hour, or 60 miles per hour. The other bit of information you need for this vehicle is the mpg, which is the miles per gallon. In other words, if you put a gallon of fuel in your vehicle, or gasoline we'll call it, you'll go 15 miles. That's what your vehicle is rated at, an mpg of 15. If you were to put 2 gallons in your vehicle, you'd go twice that, or 30 miles. And then the last bit of information for this vehicle is how much does fuel cost? We'll round it to $3 or $3 a gallon. So if you want to buy 1 gallon of fuel, it costs $3. If you want 2 gallons, it'd be $6. I said I'd do 3 fictitious planets. So let's take a look at planet X, which I made up. Now for each of the planets, I'll tell you their circumference. Using that number, though, we're going to convert that to time and money. So planet X, the circumference is 8,437 miles, 8437. To convert that to time, you're going to take the circumference, the 8437, type it in your calculator, and divide it by 60, because your vehicle travels 60 miles per hour. And we want to know how many hours it would take to travel 8,437 miles. So you take that total circumference number and you divide it by 60. We're going to round everything to the nearest whole number. Remember, 5 above, give it a shove. We talked all about that, round to the nearest whole number. So on your calculator, it should say 140 or 140.6. And we're going to bump that to 141. So it would take 141 hours to travel around planet X. Well, that doesn't really tell us much. That's a number that's hard to envision. So we're going to convert that to how many days it would take. We're going to convert 141 hours to days. And what you do is you take your hour number and you divide it by 24, because there's 24 hours in a day. So on my calculator, I'll type in 141, that's the hours, divided by 24. And like I said, we're going to round everything to the nearest whole number. On your calculator, it should have came out to 5.8 something, and we're going to bump that to 6. It takes 6 hours to go around planet X, which had a circumference of 8,437 miles. We're not done, though, with planet X. How many gallons of fuel would it take to go around planet X? Well, to do that, you need to take the total miles again, which is their circumference number, and this time divide it by 15, because like I said, your vehicle can go 15 miles on 1 gallon. If planet X was a total of 15 miles, you would do 15 divided by 15 and get 1. You'd only need 1 gallon, but of course it's way more than 15. It's 8,437. So you're going to take 8,437 again, and this time divided by 15. And that's how many gallons of fuel you need. We're going to round everything to the nearest whole number again. And you should have gotten 562 gallons of fuel. Well, what's the cost of this trip going to take if you need 562 gallons of fuel? Well, fuel is $3 a gallon. So you take your 562, multiply it by 3. For a total cost of this trip of $1,686. And that's money. And there's the data for planet X. I'm going to do another example, fictitious planet. This is planet Y. Circumference is a little bigger, isn't it? 22,362. Well, all right, how many hours is that going to take to travel that distance? Go to your calculator, type in 22,362, circumference. That's how far you're going to travel in your vehicle. And divide it by 60. Because your vehicle goes 60 miles per hour. And we want to know how many hours that would be. Well, you should have gotten 372.7. We're going to bump that to 373. How many days would that be? We're converting hours to days. So type in the hours, 373, divided by 24. 24 hours in a day. And you should have gotten 16. It's going to take 16 days to go around planet Y, which has a circumference of 22,362 miles. How many gallons of fuel do you need for that? Well, we're going to take the miles that you're going to travel again. That's the circumference, 22,362. I'm going to go back to the start. And this time divide it by 15, because your vehicle gets 15 miles per gallon. And you're going to need a whole bunch of gallons. You're actually going to need 1,491 gallons of fuel. That's a lot of gallons of fuel. How much would that cost? Well, take your gallons of fuel, 1,491, multiply it by 3, because fuel isn't $1 a gallon, it's $3 a gallon. Here's the total cost of a trip around planet Y, $4,473 to make that trip. I'll do one more sample with you. Planet Z. Whoa, this is a big planet. 272,872 miles around circumference. How many hours would that take? Well, all right. In your calculator, type in 272,872. Divide it by 60, because your vehicle goes 60 miles per hour. And here's how many hours it's going to take. And that's a lot of hours. 4,548. We're going to bump that 0.8, 7.8 to 8. So 4,548. 4,548 hours to go around planet Z. How many days would that be? Well, it's a conversion thing again. So let's start with our hours. 4, 5, 4, 8. Divided by 24, 24 hours in a day. And this is how many days it would be. 190 days. A little more than half a year to go around planet Z. How many gallons of fuel would you need? Back to the circumference number. That's how many miles you have to go. And that was 272,872. This time divided by 15 because your vehicle will go 15 miles on 1 gallon. We're going a lot more than 15 miles. We're going 272,872. So divided by 15. And this is going to be an expensive trip. First of all, here's our gallons. 18,191 gallons of fuel. And like I said, this is going to cost a lot of money. That's not the dollar amount. That's the gallons of fuel. And now we have to take that number I'm sorry, let me clear that. 18191 times 3. And there's the cost of this trip. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of money. $54,573 to go around planet Z. And there's the 3 fictitious planets I just did with you. Well, this is an interesting way to look at and compare the planets. We looked at each planet in terms of time, how many hours it would take to travel around the middle, we call that the equator, really, of each of the planets. Well, even though we're looking at time, you can still make comparisons. Let me tell you what I mean. Let's say it took 10 hours to travel around one planet and 20 hours to travel around a second planet. Well, you can make an assumption that the planet that it took 20 hours to go around is twice as big as the planet that took 10 hours to go around. Wonder how long it would take to go around Earth if you could travel around the equator 60 miles per hour in a vehicle. Would it take a day? 10 days? 100 days? How much would that trip cost? $1 million? If fuel was $3 a gallon. And your vehicle went 15 miles on 1 gallon. Would it cost $1,000? $100? You know, I miss you guys. As always, keep turning in your homework. It's very important that you turn something into me. You can certainly email me with questions. I'll be glad to help you out. Well, it's time to say goodbye once again. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Be safe. And I'll see you in 1 week.